Alright, so last time I said I wasn't going to do another video on the Jeep until it was completely done, but some shit happened and I had to take care of other shit. So I think it's important to document what I've been doing in case you want to do something similar with the Jeep, because you're going like for the same setup, or really some of this stuff is things that could happen to anybody on a Jeep, especially if it's like lifted or modded, bigger tires, etc., whatever. This is a little update of what I've done to the Jeep and what I got for it. So let me show you guys real quick. Alright, first update is I got these new plates for the Jeep, which it has this extended thing right here, so it would hit that instead of, so the bump stop will hit that instead of the axle. Now this is the old spring perch right here, as you can see, it's bolted right here, but this new one has this extension, right? So you basically just take this off, you put this on, and this is by DPG, by the way. So you just put this on and it has this little extension, and it has a hole too right here in case you want to add more bump stops. So basically the bump stop will hit that first instead of the axle, which originally hits the axle, but since I'm running big tires on no lift, I need a bump stop a lot. Basically that raises the bump stop. Also, I did get new bump stops all the way around in the rear, because the old ones just, I mean, like, look at this shit, man, like it's completely rusted. Like I didn't even have to unbolt it, I just ripped it off with my hand. So I decided to get bump stops all the way around. Biggest bitch of all of this was the fucking rear. So when I was unbolting the rear bump stop, the old one, a fucking bolt broke. So that's why this is two different bolts right here. So you got that bolt, which is the new one replaced, and then that's the original bolt right there. So like I said, as I was taking the old bump stop off, one of the bolts, which is the same bolt on both sides, fucking broke off. Now I did try drilling it and trying to get it out with an extractor, but that was just not working at all. I don't know if it's because I think these bolts are hardened, which I don't know. I don't think they should have been. I don't know. A drill and an extractor was just not working at all. So I was searching through forums and everything, trying to look, because I needed this bump stop to be secured, because that's what's saving my fenders from that tire stuffing up all the way up there. So I kept looking, and I came across this thing where you get a hammer or an air hammer and just punch the weld nut, because it's welded inside the frame. It's just tacked on there. So just get a hammer or an air hammer, like I said, and just bust it up, and then you get this hole, right? And then to fill up the hole, you get this thing called a nut cert, which is this little thing. So let's see if you can, so you can't really see, but this thing has like threads inside. There's a little bit better. So once you bust the nut, so once you bust that nut, there's a hole left in there. So you just stick this up in the hole. It's just pretty much you stick the screw, a nut, and then you tighten the screw, and then the nut holds it, and this thing just compresses and pinches it to the metal. So this is my solution. I'll post in the description the part number. I'll try to find the link. I bought it off of Fastenal. Like I went to AutoZone, O'Reilly's, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace, and even other some small pop hardware shops. Nobody had this. It's, I don't know if only Fastenal has it, but that's the only place I was able to find it. So like I said, pop this in the hole and you install it in there, and then you just put you have a brand new bolt. So I bumped up the front is on the spring perch where the spring sits. You just drill a hole through the middle, and then just what I did is just I got two hockey pucks, drilled through the middle, and then just a bolt and a nut, and that's pretty much it. So this is the passenger side. So like I said, you got a new bump stop right here, and then I got just two hockey pucks, and then I just got a bolt, and then I just drilled through the middle of this. Now, right now this is loose, because what I found out, like I said, well, you can see the hole in the middle. Just drill it into now. But this is loose because there's no way axis, because of the track bar, you put a bolt like in the driver's side. So this is the driver's side, and like I said, this thing's stuck in there, but you have this little axis right here. You can just stick a nut in there. You don't have the same axis over there because of the track bar. Alright, it was getting really windy outside, so I had to bring the camera inside. Alright, so as I was putting the bump stops on, I took advantage that I had the Jeep on jack stands, and I disconnected the shocks, and I decided to flex the suspension with the jack to see how much it would droop, and I came across something that was limiting my droop. Now, these are pretty much the main things that limit your droop, which are your shocks, like I told you guys before, your lower control arms, your track bar. So like I said, I disconnected the shocks up front, and then I decided to flex the suspension out with the jack. I noticed that what was limiting my droop more was the stock lower control arms. Now on X-rays, the stock lower control arms hit the shock mount perch, which like I said, it limits your droop. Now you could cut it and it'll give you just that much more droop, just like a little bit more, but I decided to go a different route and I got these bad boys. So these are beef, man. Compared to stock, these are beef. So these are lower control arms, obviously, and these are from Core 4x4, and they have a forged Johnny joint on one end, and then it's welded on the other, but it still has that flex joint. And I went with these because I wanted to get the most flex possible, because I just want to buy shocks once. So I decided to go these for now, see how much more flex I could get. Like I said, if you don't know what a Johnny joint is or a flex joint is, well, just let me show you real quick. So on a flex joint, you got a little ball inside of here. Instead of just being a little tube that connects to your body or to your axle, you have this. And what that flex joint allows you to do, alright, so say it's connected to the body like that, right? And then you're in the mountains, you're flexing, blah blah blah. If it's straight through, it's gonna bind at some point, but with this flex joint right here, once you flex a lot, and then it disaligns like that. See that little ball going up? So it flexes, giving you more flex. Like that. So it just flexes on the body as you're flexing. And then it has that on both ends. Now this is a forged Johnny joint at the end, which is super strong, and then this is a welded one, which it's still strong, but I mean, I guess in general the forged one is way stronger because it's forged. I decided to go with Core 4x4 instead of like other brands like Metaclog. Metaclog has forged Johnny joints at both ends, but the thing that did it for me is it has this bend. Now the bend's gonna clear the shock mount perch more, giving you a little bit more droop. In my mind, I think that works better than being straight, even though you have Johnny joints at both ends. Like I said, we'll see. I've heard good things about them, and I mean, they're straight beef. These things are pretty beefy. And besides the point, anything above stock is better. I decided to go with them, and I don't know, I'm gonna try them out, see how it goes. Alright, so right now, that's the lower control arm. There's no shock connected, as you can see it go right here. So right now I'm gonna show you guys real quick what I mean when I flex it with the jack, which is the jack's over there, and you can see it hits right there. Alright, so as you can see, it's the upper part of that lower control arm. It's hitting the spring or the shock mount perch right there. Now most people cut it a little bit, but I'm gonna add those lower control arms, and I might cut it a little bit too. So that's how much he's flexing right now with the shock disconnected. And it's not that bad of a flex for being stock with no shock, because it dismounts the spring completely. If I take that little pin metal thing out, that's like the only thing holding the spring. Other than that, the spring's like completely loose. It's a pretty good amount of flex. And then there's the bump stops hitting the hockey puck bump stop. So all the way droop down middle of the axle nut to the fender, it's about 32.5. So that's 32.5. I'm gonna take them off, put the new lower control arms, and let's see how much more flex we get. All right guys, first one's out. Here it is, and look at the massive difference, man. This is like a tin can. Like, it's so thin. And then look at this. This is pure beef. And it's got the flex joints both ends. So now we just gotta get this one in there and then do the next side. Alright, so I just finished installing both sides. It's not that hard, it's kind of a pain in the ass though, because the axle moves. I installed them and I flexed it right away, and at first I got kind of disappointed because we actually lost flex. So last time it was, what, 32 to 32.5, then I flexed it and we only had like 31. But the reason was, remember the spring perches? So the new lower control arm is actually thicker, so it hits that first, so it doesn't really let it droop all it should. So what I did is I cut the spring perch off and I flexed it again, and we gained like about an inch or half an inch, which is not a lot, but we gained that flex without binding. So, and that's thanks to the Johnny joint and the swivel joint on both ends. So let me show you guys real quick. So here she is. Don't mind those scratches, I kind of fucked up with the grinder. But I cut that little square. Now she's still kind of hitting right here, but I'll just grind that off. But I got this one side done, control arms right there. There's the other driver's side. Like I said, even fully drooped right now, it hits. and with the stock lower control arm it didn't, but at the same time this is way thicker. So here she is connected. I mean, like, look at that. That thing's literally like almost an inch from the ground. Spring is completely off, and like I said, get measuring from the center axle nut, 33.5. So there's that cut. It's just hitting a little bit right there. So I just need to grind that off a little bit more. Then you can see the Johnny joint doing its thing right there, and you can see the joint over here doing its thing. Look at that. It's not even binding. You got the Johnny joint right there, not even binding either. And this is how the driver's side looks. Since I did cut the fender up higher than last time, I might not even need to use 2 hockey pucks. I might just need 1, but for now I just have the 2 of them. Here's the other Johnny joint, looking pretty good. And then we got the other one. Pretty good flex off of it. So just look at that axle flex right there. And then the rear, it's still not even flexing. So the rear is still pretty straight. So yeah, it looks like this thing's gonna flex pretty good even with 33s on and longer shocks, just with those arms and longer shocks. Like I said, this is flexing pretty good up front. The rear's not even flexing yet, but once the rear flexes too, with the tires on, it'll flex even more. So can't wait to see that shit. But yeah, like I said, this is a little update. Got the control arms, got the bump stops, and a new bump stop. I also cut the fender up way higher, so I could stuff the tire up in there. In the rear, we got the bump stop plates and brand new bump stops. So all that's left, cut the other side, the driver's side, which I didn't cut, bolt everything tight, get in alignment, make sure everything's on right. After that, just measure for longer shock. I mean, I can measure the front like this for longer shocks. It's already like a 26 inch, but on the rear, it's harder to measure with the jack, so I'm gonna have to actually use the forklift for the rear. But anyways, all that's left is pretty much just measure for shocks, put the shocks on, and that's pretty much it. We're done. So next video for sure should be the final product, and I'm gonna go off-roading soon. So alright, deuces.